More than half of 2012 college graduates will have difficulty finding jobs in this economy. It will be a tougher road ahead for those with degrees in art. Some graduates have no regrets.
There's no other way for me to live. I don't see myself working at Sam's or at any restaurant, just being a normal person. I've never been normal. I've been myself all my life. I've been drawing since the age of 2 or 3, so I mean, everybody's known that I'm an artist. People who haven't seen me in years recognize me because I'm drawing in class, and they're like, oh wait, I think I know you from like elementary.
I have a background in biology. I actually have a degree in biology. So I liked it that much, and then I got called back to art because I couldn't resist. Because I have a compulsion to make things, and I accepted that. And I knew it was going to be hard, but when you have that much passion, there's nothing else you can do. But in this economy, you do have to be smart about things, and you're going to have to find a way to provide for yourself.
Every time I guess, wake up, before I go to bed, that's all I'm thinking about: art, what I'm going to do the next day, what I'm going to do throughout the day. So art's pretty much what I like to do. It's like my job.
I've always been an artist. My father inspired me to become a photographer because of his photography career. And I mean, I feel it's the only way that I can let loose and be creative and express myself. And I don't like being limited. I don't like being limited as a human being or as an artist. So I like expressing myself all the time, the most I can.
All 3 students are candidates for their Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at University of Texas Pan American. All are graduating this month, and they have recently concluded one of their final assessments, a critique.
Well, this is one of the first chances that they get to show their work. First, they show their work to a group of professors, usually 3, 4, as many as 5 different professors at one time. Each person has about 10 or 15 minutes. First, they show their work, and then there are questions that are asked of them. Also, an important part of the process is that at the beginning of each student reads or gives a synopsis of what their artist statement is. I think that's very valuable. They write an artist statement. So what we're trying to do is really improve their intention about their work. To have a clear intention about what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And this has been a standard procedure in graduate schools, and now it's moving into probably undergraduate, senior year. There is a book which is about the critique, which shows very much that it is being used on a national level. A critique can do damage as well as help. And that's the difference between constructive criticism and kind of a destructive mode. I've been to critiques in some of the schools in the East, like in New York, and people can get very nasty with each other. That's because there are too many artists and they have to eliminate some of them.
My plans right now is to apply to different grad schools and see if I can get into one of them.
I feel a little comfortable about being part of the Arts Dialogue. I think I'm getting there. So I think I'm still amateur and unexperienced at best, but I think sitting and talking with other artists about what art is something I need to do. And I think I can bring a lot to the table with some of what I've learned here. I want to go to grad school. I want to look for something in CAD and rapid prototyping, but maybe in a medical field. There's up-and-coming areas that use prosthetics and CAD also, so I'm going to look into that.
Right now, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel professional. I don't feel that I'm experienced enough to take part in it. I'm amateur at most, and I think that's the truth about it. Maybe after grad school, I plan to apply to different grad schools and study photography. If I can get out of state or out of the country, that would be perfect. But if I have to stay here in Texas, then I will. It looks like I can get out of here.
Okay.
Well, art, I believe, is a word, the definition I like is a word which summarizes the quality of communication. When it's high quality, we call it art. It's just a consideration. Beauty is just a consideration. It's not an absolute. But if it's communicating well and it has a high quality, it's connecting to another person. And then if enough people are really communicating with it and they feel that connection is very strong, they'll call it art.
This fall, Gerardo Gonzalez will begin graduate studies in art at Pratt University in New York. Our host, Joe Bravo, resumes his conversation with Colin Christian.
Well, Colin, we have a couple more pieces here, and they're similar but different. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the sources for your inspiration for this one and how that sort of relates to the piece that's sort of a sister piece to it?
They certainly are, yeah. I mean, this one obviously has somewhat of a Southeast Asian influence, and this one has more of an Indian influence. But it goes back again to some of the ancient writings, and then the idea of, certainly with this piece here, Vimana, and that's a concept from ancient Sanskrit texts where they describe astronauts and golden cities in the sky and basically flying saucers. And that was kind of the pop angle that I wanted to go for this show, was the idea of exploring the concept of ancient astronauts, mythology. This one, as you can see, she actually has, even though it's done in somewhat of a traditional style of Southeast Asian artwork from Cambodia or Thailand, she has a rocket ship on here, and also the materials itself. This is anodized aluminum holographic flake, which is a very, very advanced material, which I'd mixed up. So it is a mix of the old and the new, just trying to... a lot of these pieces here are from car detailing places, and that's a conscious decision. That's where the lowbrow, where the low rider influence comes in, and it's prevalent through all of my work. It's a very, very strong influence.
I noticed she has a blue face. Was there a reason that you chose blue for face?
Just again, this is almost an Indian pop surrealism piece. It's the classic Shiva with the blue look, with the very bright red lipstick.
All right, we're standing before another couple of your pieces, but these are not so much of a Southeast Asian theme. And in fact, these actually refer more to Latino culture.
Absolutely, yes.
And interestingly, we have multiple Latino cultures in the United States. There's Florida's version of Latino culture,
of course, yes.
which is, of course, different than East
LA's,
and which is different than South Texas's.
Yes.
But one of the things that I see that happens in all three of these Latino cultures, in particular in the United States, is car culture looms large.
And it does in my work. When I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of the older Universal movies, the Frankenstein and Dracula and so on and so forth. And the TV station also used to show some Mexican wrestling movies, which I was struck with because I'd never ever seen anything like it. And it stayed with me ever since I was a little kid, and I saw Aztec mummies and Draculas and Frankensteins and wrestling, and there was just something so wild and appealing about those concepts. And so I decided to try and incorporate it again into the futurism idea. And this is the mask of one of the more famous Santos the Blue Demon, and I incorporated the design into a face mask for a design for a possible space helmet. She has ventilators here, and I just thought it would be a rather imposing image for a possible alien species to see something quite like this. So that was the idea between that one. Again, done with the automotive ideas, pearlescent colors, which is very, very important. There are three main sources to what I do. There's American classic pin-up and lowrider culture, some Asian, the manga anime influence, and some of the European ideas of fetishism and clothing and those kind of things. So it's a combination of those key elements, really. The lowrider culture inspired me both a great deal on a technical level. That's what brought forward all these ideas that I had and made them possible to make on a 3D level. But not only that, it was also, as you can see, from instrumental in every single part of the design. It's really the basis of everything I do. This one is an absolute most obvious. It's done in a candy green banana color, which is a very traditional Latino lowrider color, with the pinstriping and the flames, the ghost flames. Again, this is a very, very traditional form, but there's just something about these colors together. It's so inspiring to me. And how great would that be if we managed to get off the planet, and at some point, if we manage to do so, we are the things that we wear, they are going to form some kind of decoration, and eventually it's not so surprising that somebody would customize their own outfits, and in some way I find it completely plausible that this would be the case.
I've been to your studio and I've seen where it is and who's around it, and there's you're an Englishman borrowing Latino imagery in Florida to make fine art, and yet where your studio is, you're surrounded by Latinos that are doing car culture.
A great sense of pride. I really think so, and I do ask their advice as well on ideas on colors and stuff like that. And they're usually fixing dents and fenders and maybe redoing hoods, and they love the ideas that I'm incorporating with some of this stuff. And frankly, sometimes they actually come to me with advice. I've got to such a stage now where I'm actually a good auto body finisher. So it's a very a two-sided relationship there, and the guys really love it, and they're very encouraging. And when I'm feeling a little, as artists are prone to do, right, these guys really pick me up. And it's strange as well, because obviously this influence was not here when I first moved to the US, right, which was like 20 years ago. It was very much more of a European and Japanese influence with a bit of American, and that was it. But this has really come to the forefront. Obviously, a great deal of Latino influence, so it's really come to the forefront of my work.
Well, I remember when I went to your studio, and it seemed like you had a cheering section over there.
Really
they were really proud. This is a wonderfully sensuous piece, and we're not used to seeing things that shows reclining and low to the ground in museums. Things tend to be standing up and brought up at eye level, but this one really encourages the viewer to get right up on it and sort of get intimate with it and look at this piece. Why don't you tell us what it's called and what it's about?
This piece, it was heavily influenced by a Philip K. Dick novel called We Can Remember It for You for Wholesale, which is the idea of it being implants into the brain. I think the idea that we would be able to buy memories, or we would be able to go into a device like this one. This particular piece is called Inner Vacation, and the idea that you would be able to buy a device that you would be able to climb into to plug yourself in, somewhat of a virtual reality, but taking it to a whole other level. She has something on her nose, in her ears, so she is in a completely immersive idea, and you could go away. This one is to suggest somewhat the idea of water. And so, in theory, this is her vacation spot. Whenever she's got some time, she sits in, plugs in, and has a vacation all in her brain.
So the idea of the virtual vacation.
Absolutely, yes.
If you don't travel, then you sort of bring the travel to you.
And if it's done correctly, the brain will not recognize the difference. You will have been to these places.
Next time on Defining Art, artist-activist Scott Nickel takes us on a journey. The founder of No Wall Group will talk about the impact of politics on his creative expression. Defining Art is a production of KMBH TV. Support for Defining Art provided by RGV and Beyond Magazine, Kirk Clark, and viewers like you.